The concept of social justice propounded by the Dravidian ideologues has been the basis of DMK and AIDMK ruling Tamil Nadu in turns for decades. The Dravidian ideology, with heady mix of welfarism, has been swaying the voters in their favor since the ouster of Congress Party in 1967. The recent comprehensive defeat of Samajwadi Party in the hands of BJP in Uttar Pradesh has perhaps exposed the limitations of OBC consolidation as a part of social justice plan to take on the might of Hindutva. But it's a different story in Tamil Nadu. Over the years, several attempts were made by various political formations to provide a non-Dravidian alternative to the people of Tamil Nadu. It largely remained on paper as mere slogans. None of them could actually gain any ground. The Dravidian ideology has remained unchallenged. On the contrary, other parties in the state, including the left, have become copycats or poor clones of Dravidian philosophy. VP Singh and Lalu Prasad Yadav managed to use OBC consolidation in the late 1980s in North India to successfully thwart the progress of then BJP leader L.K. Advani's Rath Yatra, which represented the surge of Hindutva. On October 23, 1990, Lalu literally stopped the saffron movement on its tracks by arresting L.K. Advani in Samastipur, bordering Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Earlier, VP Singh had become the Prime Minister on the strength of backward consolidation. This time around, Akhilesh Yadav, son of Mulayam Singh Yadav, used social justice as a plan to consolidate OBCs in Uttar Pradesh. He brought together non-Yadav, non-Jatav Dalits, and other extreme backward communities, along with his core base of Yadavs and Muslims, to forge an alliance. He tied up with RLD to win over the farmers in the western belt of Uttar Pradesh. But his efforts had decidedly fallen short. Does it mean the social consolidation alone cannot beat the saffron surge? To understand this and more, I'm joined by senior journalist and political analyst R. Rajagopalan. Welcome to the Federal, Mr. Rajagopalan.
Thank you.
What is the likely impact of the outcome of Uttar Pradesh elections on Tamil Nadu? What are the takeaways for the DMK regime in the state?
My salutations to all of you. Your question is very, very interesting because Akhilesh Yadav tried whatever the Dravidian culture has been propounding in Tamil Nadu for the last 5-6 decades. Mr. Akhilesh Yadav could not compete with Narendra Modi's Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, Sabka Vishwas. So that concept, carried on by Mr. Narendra Modi. Also for the last 7 years, Srinivasan, that the result has been shown on the, as a groundswell for BJP. 2014, 2017, 2019 and 2022, the 4 phases of election, the voters have been giving sizable votes for BJP because of the, exactly calling it as a social justice in the North Indian connotation. The reason being, Mr. Narendra Modi has addressed 28 rallies during the UP elections. And out of the 28, he has maintained a very important aspect. आप सब लोगों का सुई मिल गया कोरोना का, आपको टॉयलेट मिला, आपको उज्ज्वला स्कीम में बेनिफिट मिला, जिसने मिला हाथ उठाइए. Everyone raised their hands. In the sense he was interacting with the people, with the voters.
Right. I understand. What you're trying to say is that he mixed very cleverly, along with a good slogan of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, welfarism. He promoted welfarism by providing toilets, by providing free ration, by providing other welfarism in the form of these schemes and these schemes and other benefits to the people there. You see, a similar thing was attempted in Tamil Nadu, and that's been the one of the layers which was put on the basis of the caste consolidation. But in Uttar Pradesh, Samajwadi Party promised even more. They said we'll extend the ration scheme throughout the year, whereas it was about to end in March, the free ration scheme, which they called it double ration. In fact, in a month, they were providing twice. But he even promised that its extension will happen in his regime throughout his regime. But people still voted for BJP. Is the Hindutva principal reason for its success, for BJP success?
Hindutva is also a major factor. If you grade it, I would say a 75 to 80% Hindutva platform. The reason being, Srinivasan, for the first time, many analysts, including editorials and university students' analysis, were all 11% increase in the voting of women voters this time. Whether they voted for Samajwadi Party or for BJP, we don't know. But the 11% turnout, more over and above than male voters, what does it indicate? Prime Minister says about triple talaq. That has also, helped the BJP. Prime Minister said that during Garibi Hatao period, Garibi was not Hatao. Lekin I enhanced 30 lakh women families. The reason being, he says he has given a house worth about 3 lakh rupees with a 5 lakh insurance cover. That means 8 lakhs. He says, Lakpati bana diya maine. I made 8 lakh rupees per household for another 10, 15 years of insurance. So what does it mean? 30 lakh voters, the houses means at least 1 crore voters per house. If you make 3 or 4 members in one house, they all turn into Modis. Apart from that, Srini, the law and order problem was major impact on Mr. Yogi Adityanath's ruling, in the sense governance. Plus, Akhilesh Yadav MY factor was Muslim and Yadavs, whereas Narendra Modi's MY factor is Modi and Yogi. So they converted into a different connotation. Now coming to your question, whether it can be translated into Tamil Nadu, the answer is yes. The reason being, Mr. Amit Shah, for the last 3-4 days, have started to work on a capsule for Tamil Nadu. How to enhance the 5 or 6% what they got during urban polls held last month in Tamil Nadu. And he had the data before him when I had the opportunity to interact with the Honorable Home Minister. He was also explaining how he has decided to plan Tamil Nadu. The 32 districts plus the social engineering aspect, he will apply his mind over another week or 10 days or 1 month. The point being, UP is totally different from Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is half of UP's population, not even half, it's 1/3 of population. 1/3, yeah. And even assembly-wise, 234, where here it is 403 MLAs. So these are all certain aspects. But one thing is very confident, Amit Shah was very confident that the urban polls had given BJP an entry, a foothold in Tamil Nadu. Now we will develop it into 15 to 20%. He was very confident. What he has done in Jammu Kashmir 370 plus Uttar Pradesh. Jammu Kashmir plus Uttar Pradesh is equal to Tamil Nadu. That's what I could make out from him. And in Tamil Nadu, the social engineering will be on a different platform altogether.
I'll come to that. I'll just take, obviously, you had some conversation with him and you're quoting and few things you're holding back. That's fine. But from what you said, I just want to take a point. You said 15 to 20%. Are you trying to suggest that, the success of BJP in the recent urban local body polls, where they stood alone and got about 6% of vote share, the target of BJP would be to nearly double it, maybe take up 15 to 20%. That's kind of a vision which he is now trying to have and work on a blueprint towards that?
Absolutely, you are on dot, Srinivasan. You are on dot, absolutely. Because he says he goes up to the extent of 8% projections, not 6. He was analyzing that. and he had a broadsheet, Excel broadsheet print in front of him, and he was even mentioning about Coimbatore. He was even mentioning about other districts where the percentage is more. And the basic idea of BJP going it alone is to ensure and also see how they are going to probably, if they contested on their own, even in 2024 or 2026, he was analyzing with ADMK, without ADMK, with PMK, without PMK, like that. And presently, Devendra Kula Velalar reservation has paid much dividends during the urban elections. That's what, few BJP leaders also give an interpretation. How and why, we don't know. Similarly, in another 1 year's time or 2 years' time, they feel that DMK will get anti-incumbency feeling because of certain shortfalls of DMK. Added to that, they say that 15% is the maximum. BJP top leadership say that Tamil Nadu, we will definitely get 8 to 10 MPs in 2024.
Okay. So I mean, from what you're saying, I understand, the way I understand is this, that a kind of social engineering was tried by the BJP, which was basically trying to work with Devendra Kulavelalars and grouping 7 castes under one nomenclature of Devendra Kulavelalar and bringing a legislation in the parliament. They did it in the last session. You're saying probably it helped them. So there is a certain kind of social engineering also going along with the campaigning which aggressively BJP is making in Tamil Nadu. But will the party, they could manage the local bodies poll on their own strength, but can they afford to do the same thing when it comes to parliamentary election? Because even now your projections are about, even if we go by that projection, is about 10 to 15% vote, but that won't be enough to be on their own.
They are with the ADMK, no doubt. And, if you analyze it, Congress will never leave DMK. DMK will never leave Congress. So if that is, sealed, therefore, obviously, ADMK, PMK, BJP, GK Vasan, plus 1 or 2 more, that's what they were planning. They will definitely make an inroads into Tamil Nadu voting pattern. Apart from that, the slowly distancing style of Morosoli. Yesterday in Morosoli, they also wrote an editorial that they have warned Congress why they lost in UP and other 4 states. So therefore, that also you have to take into consideration, Srinivasan.
So are you saying that DMK could rethink its relationship with Congress party? Is that what you're trying to suggest? No,
not rethink in the sense they will reduce their importance of Congress in Tamil Nadu. They have given 10 parliament seats and more assembly seats. Now that number will come down. And in the month of June, there is a by-election to the Rajya Sabha, 6 MPs to be elected. As per the sources, Congress is demanding 1 Rajya Sabha MP from DMK, which DMK may not give this time. That's what yesterday's Morosoli editorial indicates.
Yeah, I do agree that they would drive even more hard bargain with the Congress party in the coming days, in the coming elections. But the alliance, they would still go because they are saying they will have what they call as a secular front. Now, the question is again here, you did agree that if 70% Hindutva played its role in Uttar Pradesh, but in Tamil Nadu, which we all of us know, it's a different state with a different culture, with a different politics. What would be the base of BJP in the state? Because they have to have some firm base on which they build and bring other coalitions like Devendra Kulavelalar or other political combination, electoral and caste combination. What would be their basis?
They have not yet applied their mind in detail as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, because presidential election is in their uppermost priority for BJP, President of India, Vice President of India elections. But my understanding is even during the lifetime of Mr. Karunanidhi and Madam Jayalalitha, BJP had won 5 Lok Sabha seats without Hindutva platform. If you remember, ADMK manifesto also clearly said about Ram Mandir. ADMK manifesto during the lifetime of Jayalalitha also mentioned about the 370. Whereas when DMK had an alliance with BJP, when Mr. Murasali Maran was minister in BJP government, Vajpayee government, then they kept 370 separately. But now these questions are not going to be, focused by voters. And more important, Srinivasan, in 2 years, central leadership of BJP is going to project Gaur Parivar Vad, the aggressive, family rule, dynastic rule.
Dynastic.
Dynastic
Today also
rule.
Prime Minister, I think, referred to that.
Yes, in
in
the
his
BJP parliamentary party, he
parliamentary
mentioned
party,
that. And that is, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. If you remember Prime Minister's speech in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha while thanking the President joint session speech, President of India in the Lok Sabha, he mentioned that in every meeting he says, and 10% you have to give it to Mr. Narendra Modi's sloganeering about Gaur Parivar Vad, which affected Mr. Akhilesh Yadav and also Mr. Jayant Chaudhary, the RLD Chaudhary Charan Singh's grandson. So therefore, this family rule is going to be a major plank for BJP, apart from social engineering. And second thing, misrule of DMK.
Well, yes, dynastic rule is one thing which BJP is constantly taking in various states. Even they took it up in Karnataka when they were facing Gaudas. In every state, they have 1 or 2 examples which they consistently do. But in the case of Uttar Pradesh, I'm slightly taking you back to Uttar Pradesh just for a moment. That there was a very aggressive and often bordering on, what could be otherwise an electoral, election commission could have frowned upon. That there are many things which were said by BJP leaders just to polarize the population, and such issues or such things may not work in a state like Tamil Nadu because it's more homogeneous. So, other than dynastic politics, what do you think is the kind of issues they could push in the coming years?
The Sri Lankan Tamil plight, how in 2000, as they raised the Kashmir file issue during the 2022, can you believe 30 years ago the incident took place, Kashmir Pandits in Jammu Kashmir. Today they made a film and they utilized that. Even Prime Minister commented on that. Keeping that in mind, my hunch is, I have no proper inputs for that, authentic inputs, but my hunch is 2009, the genocide in Jaffna, because Prime Minister is going to Jaffna in the end of this month. He has already visited. Therefore, that is in his mind to capitalize the genocide of Tamils, which will create an emotional feelings for Tamils, Indian Tamils. I'm sure that type of things they will work it out. Second, mostly they will focus on.
That's very interesting what you're saying. Yesterday, I think the TNA leader, he was here. I think he had a meeting with the BJP leaders in Tamil Nadu, Sumantran. So, is already anything being worked out, or you think it's slightly far off?
Sumantran is also coming to Delhi to meet the central leadership, and the Sumantran presence is, of course, is important. As we speak, Srinivasan, Gotabaya Rajapakse, the ruler of Sri Lanka, is meeting 6 MPs of Tamil Elam side. The reason being the pressure being mounted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's set up in Delhi, especially the National Security Advisor and the Foreign Secretary. They are pressurizing Sri Lanka to come to terms with Tamil in northeastern province. And that is the reason why Prime Minister is going to land straight in Palay International Airport in Jaffna. So give a sight of feelings for Tamils.
Right, I do agree. You see, they may be able to, BJP as a political strategy, may be able to expose the role of DMK during that. They may try as you're saying, by revealing what happened those days in 2009, in the last days to the struggle, all those things, politically they may try. But, the BJP government at the center also will have to do something substantial to sort out to give something to the Tamils of Sri Lanka. And they may have to do work very closely with the Sri Lankan government to pressurize them, to give them some, better life for the Tamils there. Is there anything being worked out for that?
Yeah, quietly they are working it out at the cabinet committee on security level, at the topmost policy making body of the union government. There are certain discussions at the National Security Advisory Board. Those things will crystallize by end of this year only, Srinivasan, because Prime Minister would like to understand. The reason being, Sri Lankan economy is getting worse and day by day, with the impact of Chinese presence there, and Chinese are going to have a sort of problems with Sri Lanka. So therefore, these are all aspects which BJP will definitely concentrate on.
Fine. Thank you very much for telling me about the Sri Lankan visit of the Prime Minister beginning 31st of this month. I would like to quickly ask you one last question about the role of governor in Tamil Nadu. Unlike West Bengal, where the chief minister seemed to be in constant confrontation, and she has even once blocked his Twitter account. I mean, the confrontation between the two, the governor and the chief minister, went to that level. But in Tamil Nadu, there is no such thing. Stalin, the chief minister, seemed to be here maintaining quite a civility. But R.N. Ravi seemed to be in news almost every week. Even today, chief minister went and met him and sought his, intervention so that the legislation on NEET, which was sent back to him, is sent to the center. So why is that happening?
It's all like, if I recall your memory, and also to the viewers of Federal, what happened with Narayanaswamy and Kiran Bedi, that is being reenacted in Tamil Nadu. That is what I could make it out, because the day when Mr. R.N. Ravi name was proposed at the highest level in Delhi a year ago, they had a plan to corner the DMK and ensure that DMK will be in tatters. That is happening now. But today, Mr. R.N. Ravi extended a courtesy to Mr. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin and said that he is forwarding the State Assembly's resolution to the President. Now it will be in President's court. Now it's not to be with the Governor. So Governor played a trick in this. My understanding is DMK has to refine and redo its strategies, because the same time when Chief Minister was meeting the Governor of Tamil Nadu, in Delhi, Mr. T.R. Balu, the leader of DMK parliamentary party, sought a withdrawal of R.N. Ravi from the state of Tamil Nadu because he has not signed 7 bills, NEET, like that. There is no coordination between Chief Minister and Mr. T.R. Balu. That's what I could make out. And it is high time that DMK set that right, because there is no proper correlation between Rajya Sabha MPs of DMK and Lok Sabha MPs of DMK and Chennai Arivalayam and Delhi DMK leaders outfit. And today, 10 to 15 MPs are present in Lok Sabha. When T.R. Balu spoke, I was watching that. They all said shame, shame, shame against the governor. But governor has, helped the Tamil Nadu government. Governor had gone much nearer to M.K. Stalin, whereas the DMK MPs do not know what happened in Chennai, and this was certain, which are avoidable.
Yeah, possibly on a day. See, the contention of DMK has been that last time it was nearly 6 months, and first time he held back and was sent back to him, and this time it was about 25 days. And you're saying that there's a lack of coordination between what happened in Parliament and Stalin's meeting with the governor here. Thank you very much for giving your insights on what is likely to happen in BJP as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. What is the strategy? Thank you very much.